let's rebel. I'm in rebellion. To all my rebels out there. I'm in rebellion. Rebelling against the culture. Being transformed. I'm in rebellion. Not conform to the ways of this world or this age. I'm in rebellion. Welcome to the revolution. Jesus was a rebel. He was renegade, outlaw, sanctified, troublemaker, but he never sinned, no. And he lived his life by a different set of rules. The culture ain't approved, so you know they had to bruise him. That's the way they do, man, they swear they so gangsta. Everyone the same, everybody do the same stuff. Tattoos, piercings, smoking up and drinking, money and sex, plus them extravagant weekends. Man, if that's the highlight, my puff.
How you guys doing today? Jason A. Kuhn here, giving you a Fight the Deception with Christian Perception news brief for February 14th, 2014. Got a lot of news, little time. We'll jump into it here at Infowars.com. An article by Paul Joseph Watson. Candidate Obama, I will reverse biggest problem of executive power, abuse of power. A lot of President Obama's repeated assertions made in recent weeks that he will ignore Congress and pursue his agenda via executive orders. The clip of Obama from 2008 is all the more prescient. During a 2008 town hall meeting in Pennsylvania, Obama stated the following, quote, "You know, I taught constitutional law for 10 years. I take the Constitution very seriously. The biggest problem that we're facing right now had to do with George Bush trying to bring more and more power into the executive branch and not go through Congress at all. And that's what I intend to reverse when I'm President of the United States of America," unquote. Can you say flip-flop? Compare that to statements made by Obama over the course of the last few weeks. During a State of the Union address, Obama said that he would act, quote, with or without Congress, unquote, to pursue his agenda, taking steps, quote, without legislation, unquote, via executive orders to achieve this goal. 2 weeks before his Soto speech, Obama arrogantly remarked that he would use, quote, a pen and a phone, unquote, to bypass the legislative branch. During comments made to French President Francois Hollande earlier this week, Obama quipped, quote, "That's the good thing about being president, I can do whatever I want," unquote. However, Obama's obvious distaste for congressional process is by no means just a recent phenomenon. After being on the receiving end of criticism for attacking Libya without congressional authorization in 2011, Obama churlishly snapped, quote, "I don't even have to get to the constitutional question," unquote. Former Congressman Ron Paul reacted to Obama's intention to exert executive privilege by warning that it heralded, quote, "a milestone in presidential usurpation of congressional authority," unquote. Quote, "Sadly, his pledge to use his pen to implement laws and policies without the consent of Congress not only received thunderous applause from representatives from the president's party, some representatives have even pledged to help Obama get around Congress by providing him with the ideas for executive orders. The Constitution's authors would be horrified to see legislators actively aiding and abetting a president taking power away from the legislature," unquote, Paul wrote. We'll stick here at Infowars.com, an article by Kurt Nimmo. Ron Paul launches clemency petition for Snowden. Former Texas Congressman Ron Paul has launched an effort to secure clemency for NSA whistleblower Edward Snowden. The Demand Clemency for Edward Snowden petition is posted on the Ron Paul channel. Quote, "Edward Snowden shocked the world when he exposed the NSA's illegal and abusive spying program. Instead of applauding him for his bravery and patriotism, the U.S. government labeled Snowden a traitor," unquote. The page states, quote, "Join Ron Paul in demanding that Edward Snowden is granted clemency. Sign the petition. Let's bring Edward home before his amnesty in Russia expires on July 31st, 2014, unquote. We'll stay here at Infowars.com. It's another article by Paul Joseph Watson. U.S. Army builds fake city in Virginia to practice military occupation. The U.S. Army has built a 300-acre fake city complete with sports stadiums, bank, school, and an underground subway in order to train for unspecified future combat scenarios. The recently opened site is located in Virginia and was built at a cost of $96 million, taking just 2 years to complete. $96 million tax dollars. While the city was ostensibly built to prepare U.S. troops for the occupation of cities abroad, some will undoubtedly fear that the real intention could be closer to home. Although the site includes a mosque, the town looks American in every other way with signs in English. The fact that, as the Telegraph reports, quote, "the subway carriages even carry the same logo as the carriages in Washington, D.C., unquote, could suggest the site was built to double both as a foreign city and a mock domestic town. According to Colonel John Petsovic, quote, "This is the place where we can be creative, where we can come up with solutions for problems that we don't even know we have yet. This is where we'll look at solutions for the future, material solutions and non-material solutions, anything from how you're going to operate a subterranean environment to how to dismount a Humvee to avoid IED strike," unquote. The increasing demonization of domestic political groups as extremists has prompted numerous scenarios where commentators have suggested that the U.S. Army and National Guard personnel could be needed to quell civil unrest. In 2012, an academic study about the future use of the military as peacekeeping force within the United States, written by a retired Army colonel, depicted a shocking scenario in which the U.S. Army is used to restore order to a town that has been seized by Tea Party, quote, insurrectionists, unquote. The study dovetailed with a leaked U.S. Army manual which revealed plans for military to carry out, quote, civil disturbance operations, unquote, during which troops would be used domestically to quell riots, confiscate firearms, and even kill Americans on U.S. soil during mass civil unrest. The manual also describes how prisoners will be processed through temporary internment camps under the guidance of U.S. Army FM 3-9040 Internment Resettlement Operations, which outlines how internees would be, quote, re-educated, unquote, into developing an, quote, appreciation for U.S. policies, unquote, while detained in prison camps inside the United States. Can you say FEMA camps? Fort Hood soldiers are also being taught by their supporters that Christians, Tea Party supporters, and anti-abortion activists represent a radical terror threat, mirroring rhetoric backed by the Department of Homeland Security, which frames, quote, liberty lovers, unquote, as domestic extremists. Last year, former Navy SEAL Ben Smith warned that the Obama administration is asking top brass in the military if they would be comfortable with disarming U.S. citizens, a litmus test that includes gauging whether they would be prepared to order NCOs to fire on Americans. During a recent Ohio National Guard exercise, Second Amendment proponents were portrayed as, quote, domestic terrorists as part of a mock disaster drill. Wow. Let's go to theblaze.com. Officials in Connecticut stunned by what would be a massive statewide act of civil disobedience by gun owners. On January 1st, 2014, tens of thousands of defiant gun owners seemingly made the choice not to register their semi-automatic rifles with the state of Connecticut as required by a hastily passed gun control law. By possessing unregistered so-called, quote, assault rifles, unquote, they all technically became guilty of committing Class D felonies overnight. Police have received 47,916 applications for, quote, assault weapon certifications, unquote, and 21,000 incomplete applications as of December 31st, Lieutenant Paul Vance told the Current. At roughly 50,000 applications, officials estimate that as little as 15% of the covered semi-automatic rifles have actually been registered with the state. Quote, no one has anything close to the definitive figures, but the most conservative estimates place the number of unregistered assault weapons well above 50,000 and perhaps as high as 350,000, unquote, the report states. Needless to say, officials and some lawmakers are stunned. Well, they're stunned by Americans sticking up for their freedoms and their liberty in the U.S. Constitution. Let's move on here to DailyMail.com. Disney World workers among 23 arrested in underage sexting after being lured to a house by police posing as children online. 3 Walt Disney employees were among 23 suspected child sex predators arrested in a week-long police sting launched to coincide with Valentine's Day. The men brought items including whipped cream-flavored vodka, marijuana, and a McDonald's Happy Meal to a vacant house in Claremont, Florida, where they thought they were meeting children as young as 13. They were lured there by detectives posing as children online chat rooms as part of an undercover operation dubbed Be Mine. Wow. Let's move on here to BizPackReview.com. Planned Parenthood President Abortion, What Women Need for Valentine's Day. Cecilia Richards, President of Planned Parenthood, knows what every girl really needs for Valentine's Day, and it's not candy, a giant teddy bear, or an engagement ring. Nope, it turns out that women really need and presumably want a nice romantic abortion. She sent out this tweet Monday with a short clip of her showing all the things women need to celebrate the National Day of Love, and sandwiched between, quote, cancer screenings and, quote, well, women visits, unquote, is, quote, safe plus legal abortion. Wow. Who would have thought? It turns out I've been giving out the wrong things for decades. Let's move on here to mrc.org. Taylor Momsen yells, getting married to the devil in new single. Taylor Momsen and her band are living up to their name, The Pretty Reckless, though even that's a tame way of describing their new single's deal with the devil. In the Going to Hell lyric video, the Pretty Reckless Taylor Momsen screams during a Catholic confession reenactment, quote, the devil's in me, Father. He's inside of everything I do, unquote, and repeatedly gasps, quote, getting heavy with the devil. You can hear the wedding bells, unquote. She later clarifies, just in case you didn't get it, quote, getting married to the devil, you can hear the wedding bells, unquote. The American hard rock band released a music video to advertise their new album due in early 2014. Raised Catholic former Gossip Girl star Momsen introduces her confession song, moaning, quote, "Don't bless me, Father, for I have sinned," unquote, a mockery of the traditional Catholic confession where a sinner asks of the priest, quote, "Bless me, Father, for I have sinned," unquote. Amidst the imagery of coffins, skulls, and a faceless collared priest, Momsen bashes penance, yelling that after she confessed, quote, "He, the priest, said for the lines that I take, I'm going to hell for the love that I make, I'm going to hell," unquote. As a response, Perez Hilton praised the Pretty Reckless for the, quote, "exceptionally clear message they're all going to hell," unquote. Or in other words, the, quote, "seriously sinful sneak peek," unquote, saying, quote, "We love it," unquote. The Hilton article couldn't get enough of the 20-year-old Momsen, adding, quote, "Since Tay-Tay was just spotted topless on a poster announcing their tour, we are hoping the actual vid for this jam is full of sex and skin to continue the trend. Ha," unquote. At least someone's excited. It's not the first time she's stripped down either. According to MRC President Brent Bozell, Momsen, quote, "represents everything that's wrong with pop culture today," unquote, from cracking jokes like having sex with a priest and dubbing her vibrator as a best friend to claiming that she set her dog's testicles on fire to protest men. That's all the articles I got for you guys today. I don't want to leave you without the New World Order quote of the day. Quote, "The peace conference has assembled. It will make the most monumentous decisions in history. And upon these decisions will rest the stability of the New World Order and the future peace of the world," unquote. This is from MC Alexander, Executive Secretary of the American Association for International Conciliation, in a subscription letter to the periodical International Conciliation from 1919. I don't want to leave you without the proverb of the day. This is Proverbs 29:2, King James only. "When the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice, but when the wicked beareth rule, the people mourn." That's all the articles, news, and quotes I got for you guys today. I'll leave you guys off with the song I brought you in on. This is by Lecrae, Rebel.